God bless you and your family. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Coming up this hour, we're going to talk a little bit about the Alabama bill banning abortion. Boy, that's something. Will other states follow suit? The continued controversy over the Canyon County jail expansion or renovation, call it what you will. Too bad you can't bring in the Property Brothers, right? Too bad you couldn't bring in, like, Timber and Love, the Boise Boys, right? Clint and Luke that are on that show on the big TV channel, right? You never see anybody flipping a jail. You ever seen anybody flip a jail? I mean, could you imagine that? Well, these bars are going out of style. We're going to replace the steel with aluminum. They're 5 times as stronger. Kind of like what they do when they sell you a truck. Hey, it's an aluminum body, but it's 1,000 times stronger than steel. And it probably is, but you just think aluminum steel, which is more durable in our minds. Anyway, before we get to that, I have to say, we're a few days away from Miller's Mission. We're a few days away where we ask you to give a penny and not be a bad penny. We're collecting pennies, we're collecting dollars, we're collecting cents. And I had an adventure yesterday. And coming up this hour, we're going to hear from our friend Trina at Trina's Cleaning Service in Nampa, where they treat you like a queen all the time. And I was just blown away by Trina and the staff of their care and consideration and their collection of pennies, dollars, cents, items for the Boise Rescue Mission. It really inspired us, and that's what we hope to do. But I was even more alarmed at the state of pennies in America today. Pennies, Kevin? Is that really what you have? Yes, pennies. So I went to my favorite financial institution after paying for my multiple dependents, car payments, HELOC, home equity loan, as they call it, credit card, whatever. You know, you pay for your dependents. Some people pay for their dependents, like with clothes, food, and everything else. My dependents happen to be taken care of at my favorite financial institution, right? So I'm thinking, how tough is it going to be to get 1,000 pennies, right? $100 in pennies. So I talked to the teller, very nice young lady, and I say, look, I'd like $100 in pennies. The look of panic on her face. Oh, I don't think we have $100 in pennies. What? This is a bank. You got to have pennies. Well, I'll have to check with the manager. Sir, we only have this amount of pennies. We can give you $25 in pennies. Really? You're telling me a bank does not have $100 in pennies? We can't spare anymore. Well, you mean you don't have like at least $100, $200 in pennies? Well, surely it's just the bank. So then I go to another bank. And I'm thinking, man, I'm onto something here. It's the endangered penny. Well, who needs a penny? Everything is cashless anyway, right? A penny is Abe Lincoln. It's Americana. I go to another bank and they go, hi, can we help you? Yes, I'd like some pennies. We don't have coins in this branch. What? No coins? Like, you don't even have 10 pennies? Nope, we don't have change here. You're a bank. Well, sorry, sir. They're very nice. So then I go to another bank and I say, I'd like some pennies. Why do you want them? What do you mean, why do I want them? Why do you want them? Well, I'm doing a penny drive. Oh, well, we can order some for you. No, I don't need you to order some for me. I need pennies. Well, do you have an account here? What do you mean, do I have an account here? What does it matter? I have cash in hand. Well, we like to keep track of things. You're tracking me because I'm asking you for pennies? And this really happened to me yesterday afternoon in the Treasure Valley. And I'm going, it's pennies. Okay, here's my account number. Well, we don't know if we have any pennies. Look, I just went to your other branch. You at least have $25 in pennies. Can you spare $25 in pennies, please? Well, we'll see about that. Oh, thank you, sir. Here's my account number. There, I got my pennies. So I've got pennies because it's good to have pennies when we're out meeting the public and everything else for the penny patrol. You can't have a penny patrol without pennies. Now, for most of us, maybe when we're in our homes, we see these pennies and maybe we pick them up. How many of you remember when you would look on the ground and if the penny had a head on it, you pick it up for good luck? Today, I don't know if that translates. And then we have these financial institutions. They're not down with the pennies. Well, we have limited space. We're talking about a penny. I think we've uncovered a great conspiracy here to get rid of the American penny. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and maybe you can relate to that. A penny saved is a penny earned, right? The value of money seems to be disappearing. But I couldn't believe that. I went to a couple banks, and actually, 2 or 3 banks, and no pennies. And I thought that would never happen in America today. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. If you would like to help the Boise Rescue Mission by collecting change, pennies, dimes, nickels, we'll take it all, or they'll take it all. You can go to boiserm.org to find out what you can donate. Or you can go to KIDOTalkRadio.com, find out how you can join the Penny Patrol. Coming up Monday, we're going to be living at the Walmart Garrity and Franklin, collecting items. It is a tough one. And by the way, we're going to hear from Trina coming up next half hour. Here you have people working hard each and every day, donating their tips, donating their cash to help others. The summer is a tough time, especially for the kids. You know, people are worried about daycare. Daycare is an exorbitant cost. If you're just getting back on your feet, you want to make sure your kid is safe and taken care of, right? That's what your donations go to funding. I hope to see our regulars. I don't know if Mike Miniger is still around or if he just takes endless vacations. I know Terry from State College, Pennsylvania will be there. Tea Party Bob, probably in his last Treasure Valley appearance, will be with us. Hopefully, I can't really speak for him. Liberty Linda will be calling in from undisclosed locations. It's a festive time because the show literally doesn't end until 7 o'clock at night. We're there all the time and in our Walmart grandeur. I do want to thank the staff and folks at the Garrity Walmart in Nampa. I want to thank the city of Nampa. And by the way, Nampa, there's so much pride in Nampa. You know, if it's, we have friends at the Chamber of Commerce, if they would like to help us, the Meridian Chamber of Commerce, whoever. If you have a financial institution, you want to help us count pennies? We need that. Believe it or not, I don't know if banks do that anymore. There you call it. My mom's saying, I call it pennies from heaven when you find one. Well, thank you, Mom. Let's go to Jim in Meridian, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Kevin. I was just chuckling about your discussion about the pennies. And if you think it was a hassle getting them, wait till you go to take them back.
Really?
Really?
What do you mean?
Yeah, and there is a move to get rid of pennies because they're a hassle. And banks don't want to handle them at all. So when you go to take them back, there will be requirements that you roll them up or do something. You can't take them loose.
Well, so, isn't that what a bank is supposed? Wait a minute, isn't that what a bank is supposed to do?
No, that's what Wells Fargo does.
Wells Fargo says you have to roll them up.
No, the banks say you have to roll them up, and they give them to Wells Fargo.
Oh.
They don't keep them either.
I'm just shocked. I went in there, and they don't even have $100 in pennies in most banks.
Yeah.
And then they looked at me like I was a bad person.
The only people that use pennies anymore are numismatists.
Huh?
The only people that use pennies anymore are numismatists.
Well, you're going to have to tell me what that is.
That's coin collectors.
Ah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to try and save the penny among our many crusades.
There we go. Pennies are good.
They are. Jim, thank you for the call.
Have a great day, Kevin.
You too. So, apparently there are rules for pennies. I guess there's rules for all coins. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. No, we're not going to talk about pennies the whole time, but if you would like to help, we sure could use your help and make a difference in our cynical world that we live in, whether it's, what's going on with the debt, the deficit, the Canyon County jail situation, honest, ordinary, extraordinary people making a difference. We'd invite you to join us on our crusade. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up, Canyon County, Ada County. Are you down with the new Canyon County jail? We see a push by the people that want the new jail. They're all over the media in their final blitz. If they really wanted to do that, I'll share with you how I think you could make it happen. But a supermajority in Canyon County and Ada County, I don't think a supermajority in Ada County will build a new jail. That's what some people are saying. I agree with that. The jail situation is, again, what was that word they called? Emblematic, whatever that means, emblematic of the problems that we have. I mean, the schools are overcrowding, the roads are overcrowding, we don't have enough homes, and this is a good thing, but we're not the number one state to live in. That's the state of Washington. You'd think the jails would be overcrowding, right? Joining us now, Patriot Ray with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Patriot Ray.
Good morning, Idaho. How are you, Kevin?
I'm
great, I hope.
I'm not penniless, but just trying to promote and protect the penny.
Well, for the last 10, 15 years, there's been moves on trying to eliminate the penny and just have everybody round up or round down to the nearest nickel. So that hasn't happened yet either, but they've been trying for several years. So it'll probably go through one of these days. I'll bring my pennies in to you.
Well, that sounds un-American, does it not?
What was that again? I'm sorry.
That sounds un-American to, you don't need a penny. Really?
Well, if you leave a penny lay, it's bad luck you'll have throughout the day. So we don't want that. So I always pick them up.
Right. Good luck.
And I still save them. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it just seems kind of crazy. And the jail situation, since they need a new jail in Boise also, or to add on to that one, let's just make that one much bigger and ship them all over there.
Why? Look, why build a new jail in Canyon County when we could just ship them to Ada County?
That's correct. Since they need to add on too, so let's make it much bigger and let's help them a little bit. But let's ship them all there.
Here's one thing:
we
have like so much available desert space. Why don't we just build? And I understand a jail is different from a prison, but why don't we just, all the counties get together and, well, you wouldn't want to convert an old Walmart. Like I said, I still like the idea of flip this jail, and you build this big facility, and you just throw them all in there. And if you need to expand, you're in an isolated area, you can expand. You don't need really the jail around people, do you?
Well, I'm all up with Sheriff Arpaio, and let's go ahead and just do a bunch of tent cities and put a big fence around that.
Well, the problem with the tents is they're cutting their way out of the tents.
Well, yeah, but you need to put a big fence around it, and then you have to have guards there. But, Arpaio didn't have much problem keeping them in when he had the tent cities. And he fed them bologna sandwiches, and they complained. And he said, well, then don't come back. When you get out, don't come back.
I like that idea.
That's the whole deal. Why do we cater to them? We cater to the crooks. Now, there are some that get in there and probably really don't deserve to be there, but there's got to be a solution for that, too. But just to keep building more jails and putting more people in them, and then you look at the crime they've committed, if it's not a dangerous crime or something like that. I mean, they put more people in jail for white-collar crimes than they do the others, and they release more of those people than they do the white-collar crimes for someone who's stealing your money versus someone who killed somebody. So I don't know. It's kind of a double-edged sword, but we need to find a solution that doesn't cost the taxpayer $bucks, because I'm tired of every time I turn around, my taxes keep going up.
Well, let me ask you your prediction for Canyon County. Will it pass?
It'll fail again.
Is it going to pass?
No, I think it'll fail again.
Yeah.
No, it will fail again. They keep wanting where they wanted to put it before. I don't know where they want to put it now. I haven't really looked at the map, but still, there's got to be a better solution, and we just keep adding on and saying, well, we've got to put these people in jail. Well, figure out the ones you really need to be there and put them in there and keep them, and maybe ship them off to a local prison instead of a jail.
Or corporal punishment for the folks.
Yeah, have them go out and work more. Let's get work classes going more. So let's train some of these people so they're not back. That's one of the key things, too. I really liked the story last night with brother Steve Jett, who was in the youth holding system, and he doesn't want to call them prisoners. He calls them young people who are in trouble, and that's what they are. So let's work on that a bit more. Let's be more cooperative on helping people get a better life versus just sticking them in a cell somewhere and leaving them there.
All right, Patriot Ray.
Stay fired up.
Thank you, brother. Man. We love you.
God bless.
God bless. Take care, sir. Bye-bye. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. From pennies from heaven to the jail in Ada and Canyon counties, a supermajority is needed. I'd love to get your thoughts on it next. There's a lot of media play on this, but does it really resonate with people? Is there going to be a big, large turnout next Tuesday for this? I mean, how many people feel compelled? Now, again, law enforcement, obviously, they believe that they need a new jail. But do the taxpayers? 580-5436, Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
I will be damned if the same politicians who refused to act then are going to try to come back today and say we need a middle of the road approach to save our lives. That is too much for me.
There you have it, the lovely and talented Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Kevin Miller, the morning KIDO Talk Radio. Sometimes you need those little things to give you that jolt of energy or jolt of something. Let's go to Norm in Meridian, talking about the jails, jail time, doing time. Norm, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Not bad. You?
I'm glad to hear it, sir. Hey, listen, I was listening to what they're saying and the necessity for a bigger, better jail. And I think it's kind of endemic of what's happening over at IDSC because a lot of times they end up holding inmates for an exorbitant amount of time to get them out to the prisons. But also, there's a direct line of correlation between Ada County and Canyon County as well, because a lot of times they're sharing inmates, if they're having issues with the overcrowding from one jail to another. And I've seen it happen. Some of my friends got in trouble, and while they were doing their jail time, a lot of times they transfer them over to Canyon County just so they can find a place for them. I think what really needs to happen is I think state legislators really kind of need to look at the sentencing guidelines that are happening that judges kind of have to abide by. There's a lot more issues kind of behind the scenes where this is involved because Ada County has a lot of beds over there, especially after that addition that they did just about 7-8 years ago where they added another wing. And on top of that, what's happening over at the prisons means that what's happening with the flux of inmates at Ada County is not able to send out. They can't just let those individuals go because they've already been sentenced to state time. So they're having to have a place to hold them. If anything, I don't think Ada County needs to have another facility. I think the state needs to develop another facility to hold those inmates that have been sentenced to prison state time, but they haven't had an opportunity to process them yet and get them into the state system.
Well, from what I hear, Norm, they're coming they're looking to expand the Ada County prison next year, the jail.
Yeah, I know that they really want to expand the jail, but I think there needs to be a better look at what's happening.
Norm, let me jump in here for a minute. There's so many undercurrents. And we can blame the cutbacks in the news media. We can blame that reporters don't want to report. They want to be little stars with their Instagram followings. But there are so many issues. The prison system, I mean, we had a bleeping Fight Club here, and nobody was prosecuted. We had a private company running the state prison systems, and they got thrown out. Then you have, at the county level, people being sent to Texas and other counties and all these allegations of abuse. Then you have the law enforcement perspective. There are so many things that just aren't covered here. Now, we can cover the new stoplight. We can cover the new apartment complex going up, but we can't cover, I think, issues that need to be exposed.
You're absolutely right. And what I'm talking about is systematic of failures that are happening across other states that have happened before, and they've worked their way through them. California had a similar issue with its prison system, and the jails being backed up so bad that they couldn't keep criminals in jail, so they would just let them back out on the streets as long as they were nonviolent offenses. And I'm not saying that we need to look at systems that were doing that so much as to say that if somebody gets in trouble for doing something, there needs to be a punishment. There needs to be repercussions. It's the way that we learn. We get told not to ride our bikes in the street. We have a repercussion. We stop riding our bikes in the street. But what I'm saying is that with the state not building better facilities south of Boise or Orofino or whatever, there needs to be bigger and better systems involved, and there needs to be a different look at the sentencing guideline, number one, because there are people out there that are doing 10, 15 years for drunk driving offenses. It's their third offense, and I'm not saying that that's not a crime, but if we're sentencing people to that kind of time for drunk driving, there needs to be a refinement in the way that we're handling the sentencing guidelines for individuals that are out in prisons, and kind of take a look at that behind the scenes. There needs to be like several subcommittees set up so they could figure that one out. But if Ada County Jail is backed up, it's because the prisons don't have beds. And that's a fact, because most of the individuals there's 2 or 3 wings now that are being holed up with individuals that are trying to get a bed out at the prisons.
Norm, appreciate it. Thank you for the call. Traffic and weather together, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Dave. And I'm Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning, Maggie. Rolling on the right side, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Somebody calling in, sharing a little message, a drive-by caller here from Rehemiah says, Dave Ramsey urges his listeners to get away from big banks, to go to credit unions instead for a number of reasons. She said the penny issue you had is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to problems with banks. If you're just tuning in, I was collecting pennies yesterday. I went for our penny patrol for our spring crusade, our spring fundraiser for our friends at the Boise Rescue Mission, Miller's Mission, the summer edition, the spring edition. And I went to local banks and couldn't find any. By the way, I think we need some type of financial institution. If they want to help us count pennies, we'll be more than happy to share the credit with them for helping us out. You can always find out more details by emailing me, Kevin at KIDOTalkRadio.com. That's Kevin at KIDOTalkRadio.com. Coming up, more of our conversation concerning the Canyon County Jail. That's right. The Canyon County Jail and the Ada County Jail and prisons in general here in the Treasure Valley. How secure, how stable is our state prison system? We're hearing the ads on radio stations, not on this radio station, which is odd because we have so many people involved in law enforcement that listen, looking for people to join the correctional guard, the correctional officers corps, if you will. We'll talk more about that in a minute. First, did you know KIDO Talk Radio is your home, your exclusive home for Fox News Radio in the Treasure Valley on 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Joining us now, Fox News Radio's Eben Brown. Eben, good morning.
Good morning.
So when it comes to space, it looks like SpaceX is getting, really getting into it, getting a lot more busy, if you will.
Well, SpaceX is plenty busy, but there's a special project that's being taken care of starting tonight with their rocket launch from Cape Canaveral. This is a project of Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX, where he's putting a constellation of satellites into orbit that will provide internet service to various parts of the planet that are either underserved by land-based internet or whose internet access is curbed by oppressive governments. This is an initial round of 60 of these satellites going up all at once, but eventually, over the next few years, there will be a network of 12,000 of these satellites designed to provide internet access to corners of the planet that have really gone without it for one reason or another.
Boy, imagine that, life without the internet. How do they live?
Well, it has less to do with, Instagramming selfies and having to do more with living under conditions where bad things happen and governments become oppressive and they don't want their people to say anything that bad thing is happening. So they shut the internet off, or they don't want to learn things other than what the official government propaganda is. So the internet is either highly filtered or it's shut off. Internet delivered this way would be highly impenetrable by these bad acting governments, and that's really one of the motivators behind it.
Well, so many of us take the internet for granted, and the idea of free speech and the open communication that it provides for us is it's shocking that the world doesn't have it.
Well, it is shocking, but it's not shocking at the same time. We've seen this before in parts of Africa and in the Mideast. When unrest reaches a certain level, the government will shut down internet access to prevent people from planning either rallies or protests or communicating with the rest of the world to describe that something bad has happened, like a massacre or something of that effect. In many cases, the internet is the lifeline. This type of internet service would make it very difficult for those governments to shut it off in these cases.
Eben, we appreciate it. Thank you.
You got it.
All right, Eben Brown joining us. Gary in Nampa talking jails with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning, Kevin. I think part of our problem with the jail situation is we don't know why we're putting people in jail. I don't think we've ever had a discussion and really determined, are we trying to punish them? Are we trying to rehabilitate them? Are we just trying to get them off the street? I don't think we can solve the jail situation, as a nation until we decide why we are even putting people in the jail. Then,
man, that's pretty deep.
I don't believe in long prison sentences. I think we've got a messed up system. I think most jail sentences should be short. They should be like 1 to 3 months or something. A prisoner can get out and he can go back into society. You put him in jail for 10 years, how do you reenter society? Anybody who looks at your resume says he's a 10-year gap where you haven't been working and, they're not going to want to hire you. I'm personally a strong proponent of capital punishment, and that's never going to come about again. But I believe, in capital punishment, not just for like murder and stuff. I believe in habitual criminals. I think, you sentence them to 3 months for a crime or something, they rack up so they finally 6 years in prison or something. You take them out back and you shoot them, but that's not going to happen. And I don't know what we're going to do with them because we don't have Australia, American, or Devil's Island to send them to anymore. But maybe come up with some type of prison system that, okay, these are the ones that we are going to permanently take out of society and lock them up. But for most people, a short prison sentence. Then we need to look at what type of prisons do we even want. I was an electrician and I've built several prisons, and you've got ones like the one over in Ontario that the only difference between it and some of these luxury federal prisons is carpeting in a certain area. If they carpet them over, they meet the standards for some of the luxury federal prisons. But I built one up in Umatilla that I thought was the perfect prison. A wind-blown piece of rock that you couldn't farm, you couldn't do anything with. They had the dynamite to set the foundation. They had the dynamite to set the fence line. Nobody was going to get out of there. They had no common lunchroom. They brought their lunches to them in a cell, and they didn't have playgrounds outside. They had one walled-in small rec area off of the cell block, and that was it. And, it's more of what you think of a prison should be. The one in Ontario, they've got misters out on the playing fields and, conditions that we don't give to our high school kids when they're out doing sports.
Right. And Gary, thank you for the call. And more of your phone calls, 580-5436. Seems like we're treating the prisoners better than we treat the taxpayers. Coming up next, Max in Garden City, Holly in Caldwell, and a couple open lines at 580-5436. 580-KIDO, but we're going to be joined by our great friend Trina from Trina's Cleaning Service, where they treat you like a queen. Trina, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin.
Well, I just want to thank you very much for your generous donation. You and your staff, it was like being home yesterday at your place for your generous donation helping the Boise Rescue Mission. We sure appreciate it.
Well, Kevin, I totally believe in the Boise Rescue Mission. I know that they have it's a very worthy cause. It helps a lot of families, veterans, people that are just sometimes just down on their luck that just need a helping hand. And I just really just respect what you do for the Boise Rescue Mission. And I just really wanted to get involved in this, especially this spring. I know it's a lot harder, more difficult for them to raise money this time of year.
Boy, it sure is. And not only you, but your staff really stepped up yesterday. Sure want to appreciate it. We had pennies, we had dollars, we had checks, we had all sorts of things. Plus, you're collecting clothes as well.
Yeah, I really wanted to spread the word and get I said, this is not just me, this is all of us, my employees. I have 18 employees, and I said, all of us, this is our project. So everybody stepped up, all my employees, and pennies, dollars, nickels, quarters, you name it. They just brought in change and their piggy banks, and we just, just really got involved in it, and it was great. And we wanted to welcome you too. So we made you some signs, and we just wanted you to feel really special when you came in the door. Well, and yes, now we're working on the food and clothing drive, and I've spread the word a little bit, and I've got one of the churches, a singles group, that's going to help me just load the van this Friday night, and we're just going to probably have a couple truckloads of clothing and food to bring next week to Walmart.
Boy, that's going to be awesome, the Walmart, Nampa, Garrity, and Franklin. Trina, I have to ask you to give out your phone number if people want to support your business, because we sure support you supporting us and supporting the Boise Rescue Mission. I know that's not what you're into this for, but you're a business person. You're a small business, which means you're working hard each and every day, taking care of people's homes. How can they get a hold of you?
Sure. The phone number is 208-861-8823. And yes, we've been in business now for 8 years here in Nampa, and we do serve some of the Treasure Valley, like Eagle, some big jobs, but otherwise we have most of our work is right here in Nampa. It's great, and we'd love to hear from somebody or anybody out there that would, possibly be selling their home or new construction, or, we do about any type of cleaning.
And your girls and that one guy can clean.
We can, and we do an excellent job. We make sure it's very detailed, and we really just want the house to sparkle, especially if they're putting it on the market.
And you can check out Trina at cleaningservicenampa.com. Your phone number is 861-8823. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's from your website. Trina, we look forward to it. Thank you for joining the Penny Patrol. Thank you for your help, and thanks for having a big heart.
Oh, thank you, Kevin, and thank you for all that you do, too.
Have a great day now.
Okay, you too.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, coming up next, back to your talks, we have people saying that why do we put people, how about capital punishment? But do appreciate folks like Trina, not many like Trina, that stepped up, and we were out there yesterday afternoon, myself and the Team Subaru Drive for Excellence in Education Forester, collecting goods, collecting a ton of pennies, and we're going to need a ton of pennies for the Boise Rescue Mission. If you'd like to help, KIDOTalkRadio.com or BoiseRM.org. Coming up next, more of your phone calls about the issues that matter to you, Treasure Valley, with me, Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And let's get back to your phone calls at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Holly in Caldwell, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. I would have to second what the caller said. I think that in our country we get so focused on just throwing somebody in a cell, and I think that there's so much that we've seen in the last few years where people being held in those detention centers without trial for years over ridiculous things. And it wasn't just the people that I was calling in on, the Bundy family. It was others. And in a country where we should be able to have due process, I just think there's a better way to rehabilitate people than just throwing them into a jail cell. And especially on some of these minor crimes that we see locally. And then they eventually come out, but they sit there, and how are we rehabilitating, and why are we just building more facilities? In America, there are more people in prison than any other industrialized nation in the world, and people can go check out information about the CCA private prisons for profit, but I just think there's a lot of things to be considered on that point.
Well, jails, prisons, a lot goes on that we don't know about.
Yeah, it is, and we saw one individual that had kind of befriended the Bundys when they were in jail and the detention center. And as for people that don't know, the Bundy family were held for 2 years without a trial until they ended up dropping their whole case when they found about 20 Brady violations and egregious attacks on their family for their individual privately deeded property rights and their water rights. You know, we've seen that with the Hammond family. I don't know if you recently saw that Secretary Zinke had given the Hammonds their water or their permit back, and now they're being sued again by the conservationists that are saying that Zinke didn't have the authority to give them their permit back, and these are their deeded private property rights and water rights. I think one of the hallmarks in a free nation is the ability to hold and keep private property, and I think that Americans need to wake up on what's really going on with some of these issues. I would say no on the jail. I think we need to really look back and get informed.
Well, no, I go back to this. There's a lot of pressure to make this happen. I can't see a supermajority making it happen, though.
No, I don't either. And I think that there's got to be some better solutions, like you said. And even if there are people that have had some issues in their life over drugs or whatever it is, throwing them into a jail cell doesn't seem to be working. It's not a good way to rehabilitate. I think that
now, Holly, let me pardon the interruption, Holly.
Sure.
If you don't put people in jail that break the law, what do you do with them?
Then we're going to have some rehabilitation programs. We're going to have some ways to really get them some help.
If somebody is convicted of battery or robbery or, gosh forbid, anything else, don't we have a duty as a society is to protect ourselves from them instead of inviting them around a campfire, cooking s'mores and singing Kumbaya?
I think there's a middle ground, Kevin. I think that there are people that are there for certain reasons. We don't have the help for mental health. We don't help people when there are warning signs way before it gets to that. And I don't know if I have all of the answers, but I don't think that throwing them into a jail cell is the answer.
I'll concede the mental health issue because that's a common, again, underreported thing. Gary Rainey used to talk about this all the time, former Ada County Sheriff, that he runs the Ada County Sheriff is the largest mental health facility in the state of Idaho. He was right. He still is right. And we can go back to closing those facilities down in the 80s. But if somebody is a violent criminal, we have a duty to protect ourselves from them by putting them away so they don't have a chance to harm anyone else. Don't we?
I would agree with you. I just think that, unfortunately, when we see so many cases of people that are being held without bail or without trial, that there's obviously a tipping point when our Justice Department is not working correctly. And I think we need to address those issues before we just start throwing people in jail to make more money, because when the government buys stock in the private prisons for profit and they're trying to incarcerate people just to incarcerate them, there's a problem.
Shame on us, because there were no repercussions for no repercussions for the private prison system and the Fight Club that happened here. No one was prosecuted for that.
No, I know. I think that there's all kinds of issues out
there.
No
one was thrown out of office for that. Anyway, Holly, I got to run, but thank you.
Hey, have a great day. Thanks.
You too. All right, Max, you're next. Traffic and weather together, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Dave. Max, Garden City, standing by, locked, loaded, ready to go. Max.
Boy, here I am. The pressure is on. You know, we're looking at the prison system with blinders. The answer is not building a bigger jail. I would definitely vote no on that. We need to consider alternative forms of punishment, like Japan or Singapore. What is wrong with caning a violent offender? What is wrong with physically beating under medical supervision a drunk driver? You beat that sucker enough, and he'll stop throwing 2 tons of death around the city. You don't lock up a guy because he had some marijuana in his pocket. You find alternative methods of punishment. Building a bigger jail is simply perpetuating our own ignorance. It's insane. We put too many people in jail for the wrong reasons, and we don't put enough people in jail for the wrong reasons. What's wrong with caning, Kevin?
Well, little buddy, I'm a big fan of corporal punishment.
Yeah, I think corporal punishment is a good answer. If you go into jail and you know you're only going to be there 2 weeks, but you're going to have the holy living crap beat out of you.
Well, now, if you're going to do that instead of a couple swats, that could be cruel and unusual punishment.
Well, what's cruel and unusual? A drunk driver killing a woman and her 3 children?
Great point, Max. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.